Hey, you guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. On this channel, we try to cover all things reality, TV news, and gossip, as well as trending topics. One of the main reality shows that we do cover is Teen Mom and the cast from Teen Mom. And here lately, we've been talking a lot about Jenelle Evans Eason. Um, and it's a mess again, you guys. So I have been deep cleaning my house all day, getting ready for, to put in our Christmas tree and everything. And I have literally not touched my phone today. And I pick it up one time and I see emails and text messages like, hey, did you see that Jace ran away from Barbara's house? And I'm like, oh no, this cannot be good. So I went ahead and ran over to the Ashley's Reality Roundup and I read the article. So let's look at the article together. Also, you guys, after we do this live, if you don't mind, run over to the Ashley, click on the link and just scroll through it. That way she'll get credit for like the clicks for it as well. This is not a good situation, okay? Where does he even go when he runs away? Well, depends on where he's at, because if he's at Janelle's house, I mean, he went to like he was like at a gas station one time when they saw him. And from my understanding, so it's been said before, like he ran away when he lived with Barbara too. So I've heard that before he moved, before Barbara signed him back over to his mom's care, that when he would run away when he lived with Barbara, that he would always come back. Like he would run away, he would go to neighbor's house, friend's house, and then come back. It was never like run away and not come back. But apparently this time there's a little bit more to the story. So let's get into it, you guys. So this is the Ashley's Reality Roundup. It says exclusive, meaning obviously she got some information that nobody else got from a source close to the situation. Jace Evans ran away from grandma's house, which is Barbara. Will no longer be living with her. His mom, Jenelle, seemingly cheers in Facebook post about him not prospering. What kind of sick, twisted individual is happy that their son ran away just because it makes her mom look bad? So that's the thing here is David and Jenelle, they're kind of like gloating in the fact that, ha ha ha, we told you guys he ran away from Barbara's too, so it's not just us. But that's a sad thing. The fact that he's back and he ran away again basically means that you're happy that he's unhappy just because it proves a point to the public. Like, who cares what the public thinks? The fact that you can even be happy that he ran away because it tells people that you don't even know in real life, something that you feel like they need to know, is wild. And yes, like psychopathic or something. Like you care too much about the public and not enough about your son. If you cared about your son, you would be devastated. You would not be gloating. You would not be happy. You would be like, crap, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Anyways, so it says Jace's trouble continues. Janelle's son has been living back with Barbara for the last month or so after being removed from his mom's home in late September after David allegedly assaulted him. Things were going pretty well up until the last week or so. Barb is set to go to court next month to make Jace's living arrangement more permanent, but the Ashley can now reveal that things have sadly changed. So the Ashley says she became suspicious that something was going on with Jace after Jenelle and David each posted cryptic messages to their social media accounts this past week. So David posted a "Where's Waldo" post. While Jenelle posted a meme with the caption, "When the weapons formed against you ain't prospering," along with "Hell yes, if you only knew." So her son runs away from grandmother's house, not sure where he is, and you're posting "Where's Waldo?" And she's posting, "When the weapons formed against you ain't prospering. Hell yes, if you only knew." That's what they're posting when he's missing, when he's ran away. Oh, and this too. Look at that. This is what she posted. Her son runs away and she's like, I told you. a bunch of people that make what do you guys think Jace would think if he saw this? If Jace had access to social media and he just ran away and he sees his mother is posting to the internet, I would be no wonder he doesn't talk to her. No wonder he does not talk to you, Janelle, because you're too concerned with what we think and not concerned with how your posts make him feel. Somebody, honestly, you deserve to have your ass kicked. That's just my opinion. Let me tell you, I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'm saying I feel like you deserve it, but whatever. That's just my opinion. So the gloating post came on Saturday, the same day a resident of Springs Lake, North Carolina, emailed the Ashley informing her that Jace had run away from Barbara's home and was on the loose. So in the email that the Ashley's reality roundup received, it says cops have advised us in the neighborhood to keep an eye out for Jace. Apparently, he has been gone for almost 2 days. I'll have to check the Rue out. I don't know why I didn't check the think of. I don't know why I didn't check the Rue's post. The Ashley can confirm that Jace was found on Sunday, nearly 48 hours after he had gone missing. That means that Jenelle and David's post, the gloating post, were made at the same time that Jace was still actively missing. Jenelle was made aware that he ran away because CPS had to notify her. They had to. Right. She thinks Jace running away from Barbara validates her point that it's not her fault when he ran away from their house. Okay. The source told the Ashley Jace has been dealing with a lot. He was aware that if he got in trouble, he would not be allowed to stay at Barbara's. He was hurt by some of Janelle's posts about him over the last few weeks. Now, this is what this tells me right here. Jace has been dealing with a lot. He was aware that if he got in trouble, he would not be allowed to stay at Barbara's. I have no doubt that Barbara is his safe space. First off, he reached out to her when he ran away saying, May, please come get me. That's who he reached out to, okay? I have no doubt about that. But you want to know what that tells me? That he was warned, like, hey, you got to toe the line, or, you're not going to be, if you do this with her, you may not be able to live with her. This tells me he was not well mentally. Because someone that is just, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this as a way to like pick on the kid at all. What I am saying is a kid just trying to rebel and be bad, like Jenelle tried to say. First, Janelle's like, everything's fine. He don't need medication. My mom kept him on medication. He don't need medication. He's just rebelling. He's being a normal teenager. No, he is struggling. He is absolutely struggling because any other teenager, when told, like, hey, you got to toe the line at the house that you've been raised at for 13 years of your life, the house that is your home, with the woman that has raised you, that is basically your mom, that is the person you call when you make a good grade, the person that you go to when you need something. The fact that you would run away from her house, knowing that you may possibly be removed permanently, to me, that tells me that is not a rational thinking child. That is a child that is not well mentally. Does that make sense to you guys? Because like I know my son who is 14, 15, 16, goodness, my son who is 16. Say he wanted to act up and he does something like that and he ran away. If me and my husband told him, listen, or especially if a court system, if a judge said, listen, you run away again and you're going in the system, like you're going to juvie, you're going to the mental health clinic, he'd be like, never mind. Okay, I'm not doing that again, because he would, he doesn't suffer from any mental health issues. I think he would be like, I'm not doing that again. I think when a child continues to run away, knowing the consequences, I think it's something deeper. That's my opinion. So, the source goes on to tell the Ashley, Jace wasn't able to get on his proper medication while he was back at Barbara's, due to Jenelle still having the power to deny him access of certain medications. Thank you so much, Lulu. Lulu says, I wonder if Jace ran away to spare Barb from Janelle and David. In his teenage mind, he may think he's protecting Barbara. I don't know. I think due to the fact that he still was not able to be on his medication or go back to therapy. Jace has been going to therapy for many, many years. He has been on medication for many, many, many years. But when he moved in with his mom, they took him off medication. They stopped him from going to therapy. He no longer went to therapy. So I think the fact that even when he went back with Barbara, they were unable to put him back on his medication and they were unable to get him back in his therapy classes. He was not able to level out. You know what I'm saying? Like he was not able to get his mind right, so to speak. So I think he was still acting out. And do I think, you know, and I said that from jump. I said when he was running away from Janelle's, I said, well, clearly that tells you he needs his medication. Like, do I think he's running away because he probably hates David? I do. But I also think it's his medication because if he was on his medication and his mind was functioning the way that it needed to be, he might would have like the wherewithal to tell the principal at school, this is what's going on. I need to I need to get out of here. Like call the cops, like this is what's happening, get in touch with my May. Like he might would know to do something more rational than irrational, like running away. But he was not on his medication. So he was just very um reactive, you know what I'm saying? Not thinking things through because his mind was not his chemicals in his brain were not leveled the way they should be because he has been on a medication for 7 years and was taken off like that, you know? So, okay, so yes, James was dealing with a lot. He was aware if he got in trouble, he would not be able to stay at Barbara's. He was hurt by some of the posts that Janelle has made about him over the past few weeks. Imagine that. Imagine running away and then seeing your mom all over the internet saying, it's his fault. He was chasing after a girl. He was rebelling. Then, knowing allegedly that you were attacked by her husband and her saying, "Oh, my husband is so great. I have the best husband. You guys, the cops were looking at the wrong one. David was not the aggressor. Jace was the aggressor." Imagine seeing that. So not only is he not back on his medication, but he's dealing with his mom like blatantly turning against him publicly to everyone. Jace wasn't able to get on his proper medication while he was back at Barbara's due to Janelle still having the power to deny him access to certain medications. The source added that several local therapists would not take Jace as a client because they did not want to deal with the wrath of David and Janelle. So everybody in that area knows who David and Janelle is at this point. Everybody knows about Jace at this point. The fact that he's ran away, like everybody knows everything at this point in that area. So the fact that therapists were like, we don't want anything to do with that is very sad. In fact, a Teen Mom themed Instagram account recently uncovered a Google review written by David about 3 weeks ago, in which David accused one of Jace's longtime therapists of trying to brainwash your child into thinking they have a mental issue, in order to keep them coming back from medication. So I saw this review. David literally left like a Yelp review or something on one of Jace's longtime therapist's account saying, "Do not send your child here. Um, this doctor will convince your child that you have a mental health condition to keep your child on medication, la di da di da." So, of course, therapists don't want to deal with them. How crazy, like, oh my goodness. In David's review, he also accused the doctor of trying to make my children believe things that are not true and loves to take everything out of context and to the extreme. So here's David's post. Okay. Warning, do not bring your child here. Dr. Blank will brainwash your child into thinking that they have mental issues in order to keep them coming back for medication. She will diagnose children with mental illnesses. Y'all know Janelle's been saying my son's mental health. This is about my son's mental health. This is about my son's mental health. Before it was, oh, he's just rebelling. This is normal. He's rebelling like any other 14-year-old child. Then it was, This is his mental health. This is his mental health. This is his mental health. So what does she believe? If she doesn't think that it's got anything to do with like him suffering some sort of mental health illness, I'm confused because they're like accusing his doctor of falsely diagnosing him, but now she's online saying it's his mental health. Like what do you believe, Janelle? Because you're confusing me. She will diagnose children with mental illnesses that they do not really have so that she can put them on medication that just causes illnesses and other issues. Dr. Blank has tried to make my children believe things that are not true and loves to take everything out of context and to the extreme. If she could give your kid a lobotomy, I'm certain she would. The office will ignore any concerns that you have and will refuse to call you back or answer the phone when you have questions or concerns. I feel like the only doctors that treat parents like that is when doctors see that the parents are ridiculous parents, like parents that, are not wanting to get their kid the proper care. Then the doctor's like, I'm going to do what I feel like I need to do. And I'm not caving to your craziness. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the only time, not the only time, there are some extreme doctors out there, but I say like a lot of times when you have those parents that are like complaining, it's parents like David and Janelle. Let's see. Jace's future is uncertain. However, he will not be going back to Janelle's home or back with Barbara at this time. Okay. Cats and Crochet says at Elle Bee, Janelle, David, and two small children were in my boutique, and are no longer to be there anymore. It's a cool story. Oh wow, you must live in the area. Um, so this is the post that David made. Mind you, Jace is missing when he makes this post. Where's Waldo? Why is he already hiding? And I haven't even opened the cereal box yet. Like, David, you should not even be able to post anything in reference to Jace with the allegations against you, my dear. Like, you already can't see or speak to him. Maybe you should be able to speak about him. So, I love somebody left a comment that I really enjoyed. Um, so hilarious. Making fun of a child's mental health is so funny. Somebody else says probably hiding from you. So that's where we're at right now, you guys. Is it seems like when Barbara got Jace back, she started, making the appointments to try to get him back in therapy, back on his medication. And because she was not like awarded custody, um, she did not have the say so for him to be on certain types of medication. Janelle still had to approve that, and I'm assuming Janelle would not approve that. Even though Janelle yells, "It's his mental health. It's his mental health. This is about his mental health." Well, if you think he suffers that greatly from mental health, then why not allow him to be on some medication? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm confused why you would withhold that, especially medication that he was clearly on for 7 years. Throughout the 7 years, to my knowledge, he was never expelled from school until he went and lived with you, and you took him off said medication. Um, yes, he did have moments where he did struggle at Barbara's. Um, so, well, see, that's what I was wondering too, Lulu B, because I'm like, if CPS has custody of him, why does Janelle still have say so? So I reached out to my mother-in-law, who was a CPS investigator for like 10 plus years. She has a degree in child psychology. And she says actually Janelle legally does still have the right to make medical decisions, which is weird because I'm like, if she can't have him, like I was also reading on it because I was like Googling it too. Like I was reading stories about kids that ended up in foster care, but their foster parents still did not have because a lot of judges, they're all about reunification, right? So they hold off on like assigning that foster parent the right to make medical decisions until it's like parents done, no go. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, what? I know she didn't make good medical decisions while he was in her care. Why should she have any say so now? I have no idea. I have no idea because I was like that. That's really weird. So a judge would have to like put that in an order. So Janelle signed her rights over to Barbara years ago, right? She willingly did. Like CPS was breathing down her neck. They were, but CPS did not technically take Jace from her. She willingly signed him over to Barbara. Barbara willingly signed him back over to her back in November. When the state stepped in, um, they removed custody, from my understanding. Um, Jace was placed in what's called a kinship. And Barbara, he was allowed to go live with Barbara. And they were checking in every so often, to make sure things were okay. Now, from my understanding, at this upcoming court date, if things were running smoothly, it may have been a more permanent living situation. Had Barbara came and said, yes, everything's fine, he's doing great, the judge may have said, okay, we're going to place him back in your custody. He was technically like in CPS's custody, but they had not like completely terminated her rights as a parent, I don't think, because she still has allegedly. I found all of Janelle's OnlyFans pics, and honestly, my eyes are bleeding. I don't know how you're seeing. Yes, he was in CPS's custody because they were so CPS is still like investigating things as well, and so have the police, from my understanding. Like they have filed charges on David, but there's also talk that there was still contemplation on filing neglect charges on Janelle. And I really thought they were just holding off to see how David fared at his court date. Okay, so at first it was like the police are investigating David and Janelle for child neglect and child abuse. They charged David with child neglect. So I was like, what's going to happen is, in my opinion, if David was found guilty, I felt like they would then move forward to file charges against Janelle for child neglect. In my opinion, is what I thought was going to happen, because child neglect. I'm going to read exactly what it says. It's basically like if you allow. Okay, child neglect is the negligent failure of a parent or guardian or caretaker to provide adequate food, clothing, shelter, or supervision where no physical injury to the child has occurred. So I felt like if David was found guilty, they were going to turn around and press charges on her for neglect. Because if they would have filed charges for neglect at the same time that they filed charges against David for child abuse, it might would be a little harder for them to like for her to be found guilty of it. But if David's found guilty of neglect, I mean of abuse, and it was done in her presence, then they have much a better shot at getting her for neglect. Does that make sense? So I feel like more than likely, Jace doesn't really have any family that he could go live with at this point. Like somebody said, like his aunt and uncle. He has an aunt and an uncle, and his uncle, Colin, still relies on Barb, a little bit. So there's no way that he would get custody of Jace. And his aunt Ashley, she has a lot of like uh, his aunt Ashley. She has children as well, and she has a lot of like struggles, herself. So I don't think she would be in the place to take him. I think he's either going to end up like in juvie because he's running away, or potentially in like some sort of like mental health hospital. I don't know. I don't know. Possibly foster care, but I'm not sure. I was waiting for my mother-in-law to text back with more information, but let me see. Yeah, so unless the judge makes a specific order that the parent cannot make medical decisions, then the parent still has the right to make medical decisions. Same, you are loved. Same, same, same. Same. Um, That's so true, Artist Creek, I think you're probably right. I think you're right. Does Jace get along with siblings with his siblings? I think so. I think he probably does. Andrew never signed I don't know if Andrew ever technically had any I don't know if he signed I don't know if he signed the birth certificate because Jace's name is Jace Evans, not Jace Lewis. So I don't remember if he ever signed that, the birth certificate. I don't know. And you remember they did a DNA test. So all they would have to do is maybe bring that DNA test before a judge. More than likely, I know in Louisiana, if you get a DNA test, you still have to take one through um, like the court system. Like you can bring like one of those from like David and Janelle, for my opinion, just did like one of those like from Walgreens DNA test. So he could take it to a court to a judge and say, "That's my child. See, here's the DNA test." What a judge would then do is order another DNA test to be done through like their people, like whoever they use. Um, and when you do that, you gotta, go in, have 2 forms of ID, they take a picture of you and all these to make sure it's, like, legit you. I think it is different by state, possibly, I don't know. I agree, allegedly. But I do feel like, Jace I mean, that's possible, I just know in Louisiana, if the father signs I know in Louisiana, if the father signs the birth certificate or if you are married, the baby gets the father's name. So, like, my cousin got married, got a divorce, started dating someone else, ended up pregnant by the new boyfriend, and did not know if her divorce was going to be final before the baby was born, and was told if your baby is born and you are still legally married, this guy signs has to sign a birth certificate, and the baby has to get his name, which is like the beats all I've ever seen. Like, what? Why does he have to sign? And I don't like. I'm sure there's instances where like married spouses, you know, married couples have babies and the dads don't show up because they're too drunk or something. You know what I'm saying? And like, how can you force somebody to show up and sign a birth certificate? But they were literally told, like, if you're still married, baby gets his last name, which was like the wildest thing. Um, yeah, they're definitely not going to give him back to Janelle and David, in my opinion, with the charges, with the things that Jace has said has taken place. I don't know. I was watching some clips earlier, or maybe it was last night. I was watching this like montage of clips of Janelle like throughout the years, and it was so wild because it shows Janelle having Jace. It shows Janelle going out every night after that. It shows Janelle blatantly saying like I want to go smoke, like I need to get high. I haven't smoked all day. And Barbara saying, please don't leave. Like, stay here for your son. Stay here for your son. Like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean you haven't smoked all day? Like, you're that bad off, and her taking off. And it shows several clips of Barbara just like begging her to do better, to stay home, to help her. And then it shows like where Janelle is signing rights over to Barbara. And she's basically like, um, you know, I know this is the best thing for him. Like, I'm not able to take care of him right now. I know that I have a lot going on in my life with, my struggles. Like, CPS was breathing down her neck. She couldn't go a day without smoking weed, which back then was illegal. Like Barbara told Janelle and Kiefer, like when they were outside on the porch smoking, she was like, CPS roll up at my house and y'all are both like, the baby is gone. Like, they're going to take the baby. Like, y'all can't be out here just smoking weed because like, we could lose the baby. And Janelle didn't care. But Janelle says this is the best thing, and if anybody's gonna have him, like I want you to have him because if CPS would have took Jace, he would have been placed in foster care. So she willingly signed custody over. Then like a year, maybe not a year later, but after she met Nathan and they had Kaiser, and Kaiser was like 6 months old, they are talking. She's talking to Barbara about getting custody back of Jace. And Barbara's like, "I'm really proud of you. You're doing better." Like, and Barbara cries and says, "I thought I was gonna lose you at one point. Like, you were so, like, bad off on drugs, I thought I was gonna lose you." And Barbara's like, "I never wanted to do this. Like, I'm his grandmother. Like, I didn't wanna do this." And she's like, "But you were just, so unwell." And Janelle's like, "I've done drugs because I couldn't be a mom. That's why. That's why I did drugs, because you took Jace from me." And I'm like, "That is not why she took Jace from you." Like, we all watched it. Throughout the years, Janelle's story has changed, you know? Um, exactly. Exactly. Janelle's story keeps changing, but Janelle doesn't change. Um, so it was wild. Let me see if I can find like that little montage, because it was a really interesting clip to watch today. Or maybe it was yesterday. There it is. I wish I could play it for you guys, but I can't because I'll get in trouble. But it was literally like 30 minutes of clips from the time she had him. It was just so wild to hear her change her story, which is the story that she has now. Like, now she's like, "I was backed into a corner. I did drugs because my mom took my son from me." Like, your mom said several times when you were 16 and 17 and 18, like, "I'm his grandmother. Stay home and raise him. Please stay home and raise him. Janelle, please." When she would bring a new guy in, Barbara would be like, "Don't you hurt my daughter. Like, you gonna treat my daughter right." So, hey, listen, I know Barbara has her faults, but if y'all knew the stuff that I knew about Barbara, like in some of the things that went on in her life, you would probably understand why Barbara, also has the struggles that she has. Barbara has not had it easy, so to speak. She's had some very, you know, sad things happen for her as well. So I don't think Barbara is innocent, but watching Barbara beg her daughter to stay home, "Please, Janelle," crying because Janelle's leaving with Kiefer again. And she's like, "That boy is dragging you down, Janelle. Like, you're blowing all your money on him. You're going to jail. He's going to jail. You're, you know, bailing him out. And this is not a good thing, Janelle." And Janelle's like, "Just wait 2 months. Just wait. We're gonna be making so much money. You're gonna regret you ever said anything about him." And Barbara says, "Well, if you are, then I will. Like, I'll say that I was wrong. But like, I'm just so worried about you." You know, Janelle literally got in her face and cussed her for a BITCH every other day. She stole her credit cards while Barbara is paying for her son from day one. So I'm like, I get it. Barbara yelled a lot. I know. Um, but you know what? I know people that know Barbara personally, and they're like, "Barbara will give you the shirt off her back." Yes, she can get loud, but she's also a no nonsense type of person. So, like, if you are rude to her, she will get right back there with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I really do feel like Barbara tried her best with the situation that she was given. I know there was one clip where Barbara and, Nathan was getting into it, and Nathan's like, "Good job, Barbara, good job. Your daughter got pregnant at 15 and got hooked on heroin by the time she was 17. Good job, you did great, Barbara." And Barbara's like, "That's not my job. Like, I was." And he's like, "Well, you didn't watch your child to make sure she didn't get pregnant or get hooked on heroin." And she's like, "I was a single mom, like, working all the time." She literally worked her butt off. And like I said, I know she has her faults, but I think she tried really hard. She had Ashley's son for a while, because Ashley had some struggles that she went through, and then she had Jay's from day one. She worked at Walmart while paying her mortgage, her bills, Janelle's bills, Jay, paying for Jay's, his diapers, why everything that baby needed, daycare, everything. And not once did Janelle say, "Thank you. I appreciate you, mom." Instead, Janelle stole her credit cards. Instead, Janelle smoked weed outside of her house that put them at risk of losing Jace. So I like, yeah, and still had to kind of watch over her grown son and help him too. Exactly. There were times that Colin moved back home that she had to, yeah, exactly. So, anyways, it's just a very, very sad situation. What ticks me off about some moms on the show is it's all about them and never the kids. Janelle's the main one. It's about what everyone thinks about her, not about her. Exactly, exactly. And she's proven it with the post, the recent post about, like, girl, you don't care nothing about your son if you have the ability to post when he's currently missing. He is missing, and you are gloating on social media because it means, well, if he ran away from Barbara's, then things must either be as bad over there as you guys thought it was over here, or maybe they went bad either place, and it's just all on Jace, you know? Yeah, Barbara took Janelle to another state to get the after pill. She always supported her. She drove her and paid for it because Janelle got pregnant by Cortland, and they were both addicted to H. And then Cortland went to jail. Barbara had her hands full while Janelle was whacked out of her mind, continue getting married to deadbeats and having more children she can't take care of properly. Exactly. Like I was watching clips the other day where and we talked about this on that video. I did a video and we talked about some of this, but I was watching clips of what happens to the money she made on Teen Mom. Well, the first few seasons that she was with Kiefer, it went on weed and Kiefer, bailing herself and Kiefer out of jail. And then when she was with Nathan, it went on alcohol, weed, dumb stuff. Let me see if I can find the clip. But she breaks up with Kiefer. Best of Janelle. She breaks up with Kiefer, gets with Cortland. Not Cortland. Yeah, Cortland. And gets addicted to H, right? She gets addicted to, heroin. And they end up arrested. She ends up pregnant, and her mom takes her to either have she had an abortion is what she had, and she comes back home, immediately meets Nathan. Immediately. Very shortly after meeting Nathan, they are dating. She thinks she's pregnant by Nathan. She tells Nathan, I took a test, I'm pregnant. They were happy. She goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, you're not pregnant. The test was positive because you just had an abortion, and some of the pregnancy hormones were still lingering from the abortion. And that's why you had a false positive. So, like, listen, those levels, like HCG, it's not HCG. Is it HCG? I think it's HCG levels. When you miscarry or have an abortion, they go down pretty quickly. So the fact that her levels were still elevated to the point that she took a pregnancy test and it was positive means that it couldn't have been that long. You know what I'm saying? But didn't she say that? Yeah. Um, so anyways, her and Nathan are upset that she isn't pregnant. So they decide that they're going to try to have a baby, even though they have not been together long at all. Janelle just recovered from being an H addict. So anyways, they go to Barbara and she's like, yeah, so I thought I was pregnant. And Barbara's like, what? She's like, yeah, I thought I was pregnant, but come to find out, I wasn't. It was just some hormones left over from the abortion. And Barbara's like, oh, thank God. And Nathan's like, no, actually, we were happy for 3 hours. We were picking out baby names. We were happy. And she's like, well, happy? Why would you be happy? Like, y'all just started dating. Like, Janelle, you haven't even gotten yourself like established. Like, why would you do that? And she's like, well, I think I care enough about Nathan. I want to have a baby with Nathan. And she's like, you just got out of a relationship with Cortland. She was like, Janelle, you're facing jail time because you and Cortland were arrested for, I think it was for heroin. And she hadn't went to court for it yet. And she was possibly facing jail time. So she's like, you're facing jail time. You're still married to Cortland. And like, Jace, what about Jace? You just started spending time with Jace on a regular. And now you want to like throw another baby in the mix? Like, how's that going to make him feel? And Janelle goes, well, Jace said he wants a baby sibling. And Barbara goes, well, yeah, but he's 4 too. So like, what does he really know about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't take his advice. So the fact that she met Nathan and wanted to have a baby with him so soon that she still had pregnancy hormones like in her from the abortion that she just had with Cortland's baby tells you there that her, like, decision-making skills is not the best. Now, I get it. That was, like, 10 years ago or so, but it's kind of been the same thing, just, like, out of one relationship right into the next one, quickly getting married, quickly having babies, and just not thinking things through. But I know. I don't know how many times, Lulu says, "If Janelle were my daughter, I wash my hands of her." I don't know how many times on the show we would hear Barbara say that. "I'm done. I'm done. Like, get out of my house. I'm done." But she always, like, goes back, you know, because that is her daughter at the end of the day. But I think this might be, I don't know, this might be the one thing that, like, pushes her, knowing that David allegedly, physically attacked Jace, and seeing Janelle defend him so just hardcore and not caring how that makes Jace feels. That might be the one thing. Um, so did Janelle get diagnosed with bipolar? So from my understanding, she did. But then there was another episode where Barbara said, Janelle, you're bipolar. She's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Um, my doctor said that that wasn't right. My doctor said I just have panic disorder from so much anxiety, and that's your fault, Barbara. So, Elle Janelle was on the doctors a few years ago for all her mystery illnesses. They basically told her it's all in her head. It was so. I need to watch that. I've seen clips of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing. That's exactly. That's my fear is, he could end up potentially in juvie. And the thing about it is he hasn't been given the opportunity to get back on the medication and go back to therapy, which I feel like probably benefited him at least a little. So, anyways, you guys, that's where we're at right now. Let me double check the Ashley, make sure nothing else has been added. Um, that's the wrong thing. So yeah, as of right now, he's not with Janelle. He's not with Barbara. Don't know where he is. But when more comes out, I will hop on here and let you guys know. So if you guys want to keep up with the situation, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We'll probably talk more about this tomorrow. Um, yeah, unruly child law. Yes. I think due to the fact that they took him off his medication and stopped allowing him at therapy, and then when he went back to Barb's, he wasn't allowed to be put back on his medication and go back to therapy because he was doing a little bit better. He got put back in school. His grades were doing okay. And then, bam, runs away. And they say he was struggling due to all the things that his mom was posting about him on social media. Is there any way that Barb can get him back? I don't know. But right now, he's not with her. Um, so I don't know. Let's see. This you guys watch these if you have a chance. All right. So this is the one that I watched. Best of Janelle and Barbara Part 1. That was 4 years ago. It says MTV. Um, Best of Janelle and Barbara Part 2. And they were posted by MTV, but they were 4 years ago. So it's going to be hard to kind of find them if you just look up MTV. You're going to have to scroll 4 years back. But if you put in Best of Janelle and Barbara Part 1, it'll take you to that. Yeah, I agree. He needs like intense therapy. Yeah. So, anyways, you guys, leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm sure we'll be talking about this more. If I can find any info out, I'll let you guys know tomorrow. Um, Subscribe, leave me your thoughts, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps in the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone.